series of marketing automation boot camps with Act On. I'm Jesse Heller. I'm the marketing director from Fay Business Systems Group. We are an Act On consulting partner. And today we're talking about turning your website into a lead generation machine. So in order to gain new customers, you need to understand where your prospects go when they are looking to find you and what they're doing that ultimately leads them to make a purchase. In today's world, the place where most people in most markets go first is obviously the internet, specifically a search engine like Google or Yahoo or Bing, which account for over 90% of all searches. So with 93% of business decisions starting with a search engine search, that means your website is more important than ever before, and it is your chance to make a lasting first impression. So optimizing your site to track engagement with your content by your customers is where marketing automation comes in, and turning your website into a lead generating machine is where Act On comes in. So today I'm pleased to once again introduce Brandon Contreras. He's a manager of global channel development from Act On, who's going to discuss some of the tools that you can get with Act On that can help you turn your website into a lead generating and lead converting machine. So, Mr. Contreras, I'm going to pass controls over to you, and while I do that, I would encourage everybody throughout the presentation at any time, if you have a question and you'd like to engage with us, just type it in the chat box on the right and we'll get to them as they come in.
Perfect. Thanks for that introduction, Jesse. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. I enjoy these webinars. Jesse touched on a large number of kind of points by way of overview of kind of where we're going today. Let me extend this out. And Jesse, just for logistics, can you see the front side of can you see my screen? Turning your website into an an automated marketing machine?
Yeah, I see it. That's good.
Perfect. So just beginning the presentation by way of fully agreeing, kind of head nod and smirking based on what Jesse said. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to cover today. He touched on all of the points, and my role is merely to take you through some of these. We might get pretty granular with a few of them. Certainly, I encourage you all to chime in, chat in, anything compelling or otherwise that you have to say. Jesse is monitoring chat, and he will interrupt me and chime in with questions, comments that populated chat. By way of today's agenda, couple of quick points. Certainly not my phone. Talking about your website, we're going to broad stroke through the importance of your website, because currently, as it is now for probably most of you on this call, it is your greatest marketing asset, and we'll talk about the why of that. Before we get into what Act On brings to the table, I think it's important for us to touch on just kind of a key differentiator between gleaning website analytics and actually tracking visitors that are coming to your website. We'll talk about the difference between those two. And then, again, the head nod and the smirk based on what Jesse said at the outset. These 5 pieces we are going to peel into that are 5 must-have website features. Number 1, search engine optimization. Number 2, website visitor tracking. Landing pages and optimization, lead scoring, sales, insights, all, by the way, are brought to you by Act On Software. Continuing. By way of high-level overview of what the marketing funnel can, actually possibly should look like. 3 stages of the marketing funnel can include attracting visitors, attracting people to your website, bringing people in to see what you have to say on your site. How are you doing that? Middle of the funnel certainly includes converting these people into actual leads, either by way of self-identification or through identifying who they are and reaching out to them in an automated fashion via email and or via phone. We'll talk about a couple of these pieces, converting visitors into leads. And then finally, how are we converting these leads into actual customers or clients of yours in an automated fashion or otherwise? No-brainers here. Everybody is putting information into a search bar before they make a purchase. I won't drone on about some of these statistics, particularly the middle one. 82% of all product research begins with somebody putting something into a search bar. Maybe a highlight of the last one. Inbound leads have an 8x greater likelihood of closing compared to other leads. And then by way of agenda item number 1, currently, for most of you, possibly, your website is the biggest, baddest, most powerful asset that you have right now. It is where you are yelling and screaming from a mountaintop. About press releases, information about corporate news, case studies, the like. All information housed on your site. It is basically this large storefront, again, where all of the yelling and screaming is taking place about what you are up to. And as it is that location where all of the yelling and screaming is happening, what are you doing after people get there to identify either who they are and get them through and into and through this particular marketing funnel? What's going on your site? What do you have set up that would allow individuals to come through here? Well, I say jokingly, but it's actually very near fact. 99.9999% of websites are using Google Analytics. Perfect. Very few organizations are using anything for website visitor tracking, and there is a very large difference. Analytics on the left side of this particular screen here. Very broad focus on website optimization and performance. Metrics on traffic, page views. How does one page perform versus the next? Very, very different than on the right side of the screen, the actual who of it. Website visitor tracking. Who are these people? Very narrow focus, all the way down to the individual, who they are, where they came from, and what precisely they are clicking on and engaging in. And we very well will deep dive into this. Oftentimes when I show a behavioral profile of a person, there is a bit of the wow factor. And again, not necessarily knowing each and every one of you in the audience, you very well may have some experience with this. Getting into these 5 must-haves. Number 1 on the list is SEO, search engine optimization. By way of definition, putting content in front of people who overtly and explicitly express a desire, specific keywords, based on a particular product, service, or piece of information. Letting these search engines know that when people put information into the search bar, direct them over towards us in all of the search results. We all have experience with this, every single one of us on the phone. How do we ensure those particular engines are noticing us based on content that we're putting out on the World Wide Web? Optimizing our pages, optimizing our sites for search. A little bit more detail, process of making your site and its content highly relevant for search engines and people who are searching. Using the most relevant words and relevant phrases. I'm certain many of you on the phone know that there is more of a technical aspect to this. These are just those high-level, broad strokes. We'll talk about what the platform, what Act-On brings to the table in accomplishing this. Part of the service that we bring to the table is the ability for you to run quick analysis and reports of particular pages on your site based on keywords and phrases that you want to be found for. You know your business better than anybody else, so you know those keywords and phrases. All of these are used to optimize the search results listing, certainly crafted from the title and description. And of course,
sorry, go ahead. I was just going to interrupt you
No.
and say I had a
go ahead.
I had a chat come in saying, does Act-On have a search engine optimization auditing function built into it, or is it an additional charge?
No, that is actually part of the offering of the platform, and something that we're doing a broad overview of now. Part of the offering of the platform is the ability to conduct an audit of pages on your site. It's part of the initial subscription. There is no add-on charge to it. The inbound suite is included. And just by way of this third bullet point, it doesn't matter how high you rank if nobody clicks on your listing. And again, think of this from personal anecdote. You search for a something, and there's a variety of results that are listed there, and you glance through those results to choose what you think the most compelling are. Page title, URL description, etc. needs to be further optimized. Other highlights of our particular SEO audit tool having to do with the address and those tail words that exist at the end of a URL and the importance of those. Part of the power of the tool inside of Act-On is that we look at the URL. We offer up errors and warnings based on information that you provide, based on keywords that you want to be found for. Are those keywords and phrases being used in the URL, and why is that important? couple of quick highlights to mention. Long tail search helps you rank for difficult terms, and 70% of search traffic is from long tail search terms. Part of the SEO audit tool inside of Acton, again, it starts from those particular keywords and phrases that you want to be found for in search and optimizing those pages against those keywords and phrases. Quick to add, many an organization is using Google AdWords for their pay-per-click campaigns. We have an off-the-shelf integration with Google AdWords. So whatever keyword campaigns you have inside of Google AdWords, those particular keywords are going to surface inside of the audit tool. Just by way of example, as we're searching for a particular keyword inside the tool for analysis, we choose those particular keywords / phrases that we want to be found for. The tool goes through that specific page and offers up suggestions, errors, and warnings. I'll have to show this in the demo environment as we press forward here, but just by way of concept, takes those keywords and phrases and offers up errors and warnings based on specific areas, kind of the launch pad in to SEO. Page title, URL description, alt image tags, body content, and the list goes on. There may be a couple of you in the audience that have great familiarity with search engine optimization. We offer a very straightforward, easy tool to ensure your pages are optimized for search. Number 2, once we got them to the site, now what? I like to use Acton as semi-textbook example of this, right? We rank very high in search for marketing automation, marketing software, the list goes on. Fine. And people end up on our site. Perfect. Mission accomplished in number 1. Now what? The idea is this. Every twist and turn that a person takes on our site, we are gently poking them to offer up their information. Self-identification. Tell us who you are by way of a form submit. Goes without saying that inside the Acton platform, you have the ability to create web forms. Anytime you want or need a user to fill out information on the internet, you use a web form. Very well could have some experience with this. Every twist and turn on our site, see over here to the right, just by way of example, download the latest Forrester research, register for upcoming webinars and demos, take a survey for a chance to win something, and on and on and on. Interestingly enough, person fills out this information to sign up for a something, and we've captured who they are. The compelling piece might be the most difficult, done by way of a call to action. This is where your creativity as marketeers really comes into play. Killer CTAs, very compelling calls to action to get people to engage with content that's on your site. Compel them to take that next step. Little statistic based on a demand gen report, 56% of advanced B2B marketers said content-based offers are their most successful campaigns. People are making a mad dash, a frantic search for content. They're devouring compelling content. And they're more likely to identify themselves, register to download an ebook, sign up to access this particular piece of product information. Again, textbook example or otherwise, calls to action, mix them up. Saw on that background example of our homepage. Fill out a survey for a chance to win. Download some research. Access some webinars and demonstrations. Wide variety of offering. Why? Because there's a wide variety of people that are going to be arriving to your site for a myriad of different reasons. Textbook example or otherwise. Part of the offering inside of Acton, this really rings loudly for the business-to-business marketer. The ability to identify somebody who's anonymously visiting your website. And by anonymous, I mean that the Acton platform doesn't necessarily know, quote unquote, who they are. And my continued running joke is there is no technology that exists to tell you who a person is that simply arrives on your site, unless you work in the deep, dark halls of the NSA. Person arriving to your site for the very first time is anonymous. We don't know who they are. Now, we give you some tools to assist you in identifying who they possibly could be. The way I typically explain this is kind of date myself by way of age. Back in the day when somebody would call us and we'd want to know who they are, we would do *69, kind of like that reverse style, what number called me? We'd call them back. This is the internet version of a *69, a reverse IP lookup. The platform in one fell swoop does a reverse IP lookup. An IP address is typically tied to a domain name in the business world. And a domain name further in the business world is attached to a business name. We offer up the company name where the anonymous visitor is coming from. This is huge for the business-to-business marketeer. Even more deadly, in a good way, for the sales professionals selling into a business-to-business style environment. Snapshot of what the tool provides, of what Acton provides, the ability to identify anonymous visitors, in which we offer up the company names. Requires me, as either the sales pro or the marketeer, to put my thinking cap on and say, okay, well, if Cisco is on my site and I sell marketing software, I'm not going to call into the facilities department. I'm going to call in to the marketing shop. Got it. Of course, this is always a fun example because Cisco in and of itself is like a small country. So they probably have a bunch of different marketing shops worldwide. But it drives the point home nonetheless. We talked about optimizing specific pages of your site, of your website. What about these standalone web pages, standalone landing pages that you're creating? Well, inside of Acton, we provide you the ability to create standalone landing pages. Landing page could be further connected to your website. A landing page could be connected to an email that you broadcast out. A landing page could further be on the tail end of a form submit. I mean, the world is your oyster as far as a standalone page, a one single pagelet of information. How are we optimizing those for search? Well, First, let's continue to understand the importance of a landing page. Another little factoid here, 44% of clicks for B2B companies are directed to a home page, not a landing page. It leaves a vast array of places individuals could go by way of a click that does not equal your home page. What landing pages are working the best? Well, we have to back the truck up even further, because back in the day, when the marketing shop wanted a standalone page of information to put out on the internet, they'd go to their web dev guy or gal and say, create me one single page, I need this information on it, I need that information on it. And web dev would say, perfect, great, got it, put you in a queue, and say, have it to you in the next 24 to 48 hours or longer. Now, Act-On provides you a way to create simple standalone landing pages. Great. And then further helps you optimize these particular landing pages so that you know that you're creating the best that you can, the best that will perform well. Accomplished by a variety of methods. First, testing one landing page versus the next. Factoid, 2 years running, A/B testing is the most used method for improving conversion. Testing one landing page similarly against another. Maybe the landing pages are the same by way of content, by way of feature and function. I don't know. Maybe the background color is different. Maybe the call to action is stated a little bit differently. Maybe there's different buttons in different places. Which performs the best? We provide you the ability to A/B test content inside of Act-On. And further, we suggest what should be tested by way of a landing page. Broad swath of information, some of which I highlighted last. Background color, images, button image, headline of the landing page, the list can go on. Further, the platform through A/B testing in kind of a live experiment mode provides you the ability to control content on the fly, add tweaks and changes to pages, and the like. Some highlights from within the platform. 2 separate treatments of a particular landing page, 2 style versions, some differences. Based on some predictive reasoning. Which one takes home the prize? And in an automated fashion, you could have 2 or even more of the same version of landing pages out there live. And based on a particular time frame that you denote, continue to surface the one that is performing the best more often or in place of all of the other ones. Powerful. And then, of course, producing actual results, the object of which is to allow you to use and do more of that which is performing the best. I think that could actually be tagged to the entire subject of marketing automation, certainly providing you an insight into what's working well and giving you the ability to continue to do more of which is performing well or the best. Number 4 on that list of 5, lead scoring. Are these people that are either identifying themselves or that we're identifying, are they qualified by way of the numeric value? Huge. Oftentimes on demonstrations, I'm asked if individuals, organizations heard of lead scoring. There's a mix of responses. 10 seconds or less, I will give you kind of the dissertation. Applying a simple numeric value to behavior and engagement of an individual. Voila. Examples before I dive into this. Person goes to your homepage, they get a point. They receive an email, they get 2 points. They open an email, they get 5 points, and the list goes on and on and on. Obviously, the people that have the most points by way of this particular lead score are, we have to assume, the most interested or engaged in what you have to offer. Why would I say that? Well, a person doesn't continue opening and clicking and viewing and downloading and accessing my information if there's not some level of interest. Interest can be defined a number of ways. We continue. Simple point value gives your organization an objective system for ranking leads. Most use ranking criteria that fall into 2 categories. Being able to score profile and being able to score behavior. Interesting. Being able to score profile. Being able to score profile of the person. Are they a C-level individual? Are they from a specific demographic that we're targeting? Specific company size? The list can go on and on. But actually attaching a point value to the profile based on information we already have in a database. Interesting.
Hey, Brandon, if we're not familiar with lead scoring, actually implementing it and putting it in place, is there any resource that an Act-On customer can get to get some help setting it up or learn best practices for the industry that a company is in?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? I would say 3/4 of our expectation is this, that you come to us having little or no familiarity with lead scoring. And yes, we teach you, we train you, we school you on the concept of lead scoring. That's a given. We also, inside of the Act-On platform, because, oh, by the way, the platform is attaching this simple point value to both profile and behavior. It's doing that in an automated fashion. It's keeping book on these people. We go as far as to load a beginning template of a lead scoring schematic for you, knowing that very soon you're going to become the expert, and you can change those point values and rankings on the fly. Because again, you inside your organization know which pages of yours are the most urgent, the most relevant, are going to score higher versus others. Elementary example, you go to my home page, you get a point. You go to my pricing page, you get 10 points. Again, just as an example. Now, of course, attaching that 10-point value because of a pricing page visit elevates your lead score, and head scratcher, makes me believe that you're significantly more qualified to make a purchase. Certainly if you're looking at how much it costs to do business with us, I got to think of oh, by the way. Rest assured, we help you with this. No additional charge for that. Something I touched on, all pages are not equally important. I use the elementary example of the pricing page that you see in the background to a careers page, right? Many of our customers actually apply a negative point value to people going to the careers page. Why? Because job seekers within my company, well, it depends, but job seekers within my company are not qualified prospects to buy my product or service. You know, based on your site, the most urgent, more important pages. Touched on this, kind of, sort of. Visitor pricing page, 10 points. Downloaded something, 5 points. Browsed company multiple times in the past 7 days. A variety, myriad of ways that things can be scored. Haha, visitor clicked on company's job web page, minus 5 points. We assist you with all this. Why are organizations doing this? Well, Gartner, 70% of sales leads are not properly leveraged or are completely ignored, thus wasting marketing program dollars. From the sales perspective, I love seeing a numeric value attached to an individual by way of a lead score. And I don't profess to be the brightest sales pro in the group. But I know when I go about my prospecting day, I'm going to begin calling upon people that have the higher point values first. 6 years of college, and you only had to explain that to me once. Helpful. Continued factoids with regard to lead scoring. Lastly, 5 of 5. By way of a quick review, we've got the site, putting information out there, optimizing pages and landing pages for search to attract people. They arrive to our site. They actually offer up their information, or we target them using the tool to zero in on companies where they're coming from. Fine. Attaching point values based on their behavior. And now we're passing this information over to sales. Love this. Dangerous in the hands of sales pros. Real-time notifications. Know when your prospects or customers are on the site. I don't know, roughly 4.5 years ago. As a sales professional inside the Acton organization, I would actually set up notifications to my cell phone when prospects of mine from big organizations were on my pricing page. Huge. This adds, I say this jokingly with a bit of sincerity, this can add a whole new creepy factor into what we're up to as sales professionals. There is no power like that which tells us when a prospect of mine is on my pricing page or visiting my website, and all of a sudden their phone rings and I'm talking to them while in front of them on their browser is Acton software. I say the creepy thing with, again, jokingly with an ounce of sincerity. Timely engagement, be alerted when prospects are most likely ready for a conversation. At heightened point of interest while they're on our site, reviewing, downloading, exploring our information, not while they're at lunch. Couple of key elements to this behavioral profile that we're talking about. And actually there's a screenshot of it to the right. This is the actual behavioral profile that's created inside of the Acton platform. You see we're identifying a number of engagement points. Website visits, email interaction, forums, webinars, the list goes on. But with every engagement that we're scoring and keeping book on, it gives us an opportunity to know more about what this person's looking at and viewing and interested in. Huge. My cold calls are no longer cold. Obviously, this profile data is shared with sales, profile information, as well as behavior. Gone are the days of the marketing department attending a trade show and coming back with a list of 500 names from badge scans that they did while at the booth. Brandon, here's your 500 leads. They all came by the booth at the trade show. Call them. Sell them something. I get it. Think about that same list now. Marketed to via Acton. Email campaigns. Pages optimized for search. Drawing people to the site. Collecting behavior. Scoring profile, demographic information. Now I'm able to call on people with the higher point values versus the people that stopped by our booth where we scanned their badge because they wanted our squishy toy. I think you know what I mean. Actually applies to that last point. Gathering intelligence will save sales time. It allows me to tailor conversation to the individual. Further on the squishy toy example, person stops by the booth, gets their badge scanned for the squishy toy. They're probably not going to open an email from us. They're probably not going to engage with that email and end up on our site and view and click and download additional information because all they wanted was the squishy toy. In years past, I'm probably spending, I don't know, 30 to 90 seconds with them on the phone. If it's only one or two, that's no problem. If it's a larger part of that 500, then there's a larger issue. Where do we go from here given what you have in your hands? Quite easily, conduct just a brief SEO audit on your site. Do some A/B testing of certain pages, of certain landing pages, of content to identify lowest performing pages. Immediately implement some form of website visitor tracking and lead scoring. Easy enough to accomplish. At the close of this, Jesse's going to offer up, via both Faye and Acton, the ability for us to conduct, for you an audit of pages on your site, obviously using the Acton tool. That will be broadcast in the follow-up email. If you're interested in seeing an SEO audit, simply follow the instructions, the follow-up email that we'll send out shortly. And with that, I'm right at the 45-minute marker. Questions, comments? Jesse from chat.
One question on the behavioral score that you showed there. I think it was on that slide 34. Someone was asking maybe if you could just spend a minute or two showing what you kind of get with the overall behavioral score in Acton, like what it would look like in the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did promise sometime in the platform. This is my demonstration instance of Acton. Are you still seeing my screen, Jesse?
Yeah, we see it.
And this is the home screen of Acton. So this is what your marketing department this is what it looks like when they log into Acton. And just by way of example, well, I did want to touch on the ability to create these scoring rules and regulations on the fly. This is actually where they're done. And again, we provide you with a baseline template to get things going, but you'll quickly know which pages are more important than others. Gives you the ability to score standard activity, gives you the further ability to score specific behaviors and actions. Powerful. These can be changed on the fly. We can also score behavior that happened in specific time frames. Only score behavior that happened in the last 7 days, the last 90 days, or score behavior that happened over all time. Powerful. Of course, profile information too. In this example, we're actually giving 2 points if the person's a C-level individual inside of an organization. CFO, CMO, CEO, I don't have to explain that to this group. Back to the home page. Yes, that behavioral profile. Here's William Taylor, and here's the behavioral profile of this particular individual, William Taylor, that resides in our database. Heck, he's probably a prospective client of ours. Maybe he is a customer of ours. You know, again, up to you, kind of, sort of. But let's just pretend right now, for the sake of this example, William is a lead. How many times has William visited our website, and what pages has he viewed? All the way down to the specific page that he took a look at. What search terms did he put into a search bar? Some organic, most paid search terms. What was he looking for, researching, thinking about, maybe, before he ended up on our website? We're cookieing search as well. Email activity, sends, opens, and clicks. This is all specific to William. What information did we send him? What messages did he open, and where did he perform his click-throughs? Viewed and submitted forms. We talked about the ability to create these style web forms in Acton. This is a survey. You could create surveys, score survey information, score responses. The world is your oyster here. We help you with this particular survey here. We have a webinar integration. What educational webinars did this person register for and attend? Media downloads. You download something from our website, it's pretty high hand raise. Downloaded SEO Audit number 1, SEO 101, downloaded 7 characteristics of great marketing content. This is a demo environment. William ended up downloading this a number of times, probably lost the first copy, I don't know. There's an automated program feature inside of Acton, provides you the ability to create drip campaigns, lead nurturing sequences, and then we're keeping track of all activity William has had or has inside of an automated program. He is in a specific program. He has exited a specific program. Powerful. Engagements with our information that we're broadcasting on social. He actually clicked on a LinkedIn post. He engaged with a Twitter post of ours. Custom tab, most clients are using this for offline events. We talked about those badge scans at a trade show now, which used to be the actual just lead list. Now they're just a behavior component on the overall behavioral profile of an individual. We scan this guy's badge at a trade show. Think about other options. I don't know, we co-hosted a golf tournament and he dropped his business card in a fishbowl. Or we had a networking luncheon and he signed in on the sign-in sheet, provided his first name, last name, email address. We're actually using email address as the unique identifier. Now we can cross-reference offline behavior, trade show badge scans, participation in a network lunch, I don't know, with everything this guy's done online. An all tab, all behavior in chronological order, first engagement we've had with this individual in chronological order, up until the most recent touch. And then lastly, my favorite is a timeline feature. His behavior actually shown in kind of like almost a social media style, Facebook or LinkedIn style timeline flow. We're encapsulating behavior month by month. Over here on the left, we're time stamping it. And I said it's my favorite because of this next piece. I could ferret out specific behaviors that I don't necessarily need to see. I don't care about email, for the sake of example. I don't care about downloads or webinar attendance, but everything else is pertinent. Lastly, that score and how he got there. Your sales professionals will have access to this information. Obviously, look at this through your marketing lenses. Definitely look through this through sales lenses. This intelligence in the hands of sales professionals is powerful 5x. Hope that answers that question in an elongated fashion. Any other questions, Jesse?
Yeah, when you were back talking about landing pages, and say there's you have a form on a landing page, so you're trying to get an anonymous visitor to become known, and you have them, and they fill out a form. Someone was asking like what that looked like on the back end. Like, is there an email that you get or something, or a notification? Like, what do those look like? If you had an example of something that you might be able to show.
Yeah. So we have inside of our form library, forms that we've created here, and let's talk about the back end of this. So the beginning of the back end is creating the form. This isn't necessarily where the question's coming from or what the question has to do with, but I'll show this off as well. So I've got a variety of checkboxes as part of my survey. If I wanted to add any other style field here, drop list, confirm values, side-by-side text, whatever, I could continue to build out my form. The next piece is the settings. This is what the question pertains to. What do I want to have happen after somebody submits a form? Well, in this particular case, they're going to get a confirmation email. That's an optional type of a behavior after the form submit. So a person fills out the form, and they're immediately getting this developing killer marketing content style confirmation email. Some other things that can happen. Alerts. Brandon can get an alert every time somebody fills out this form. This is huge. Some other things, we can immediately push this information over to CRM. This particular demo environment's provisioned with a provision to connect with a Sugar CRM. So we're immediately pushing form submits into CRM. Let's back the truck up. Person fills out a form, they get a certain number of points, and we're pushing that information into Sugar so that it shows up on sales radar. Imagine what could happen if sales gets immediate notification that somebody filled out a specific survey talking about issues they're having with a something, and maybe stack ranking particular somethings they're having issues with. Sales is able to engage in real time. Now, where does this information all file into? Well, certainly it drops into the behavioral profile that I showed, a la William. So I get to see on the behavioral profile the information that he's submitted. This is great for me, the lazy and complacent sales rep. I get to see this information right here in his behavioral profile, how he answered this survey. But further, inside of Acton, all information from form submits ends up in a form submission list. And so this is the collection point of all of those forms that are deployed. So when we're capturing information, marketing interests, email, website visitor tracking, etc., the information they filled out on those forms, the browser that they used, time stamping it, what else is here? Powerful. Further, you see the ability not just collecting the information by way of this sign-up list, but being able to segment the information into specific buckets. In this example, it's actually segmented into specific interest that they answered on the survey: website visitor tracking, lead management, social media, etc. Hope that answers that question. I think it does. Other questions?
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Brandon. That was actually the last question. Nothing else in the chat box. I think we covered everything. You know, Brandon was phenomenal seeing all these different tools that, you know, we can take back with us and, you know, kind of reevaluate what we're doing with our sites and see how we can start improving it. You know, you mentioned that we'll be offering a free SEO audit, so we'll make sure to get everybody the information that they need for that, as well as a copy of the recording of today's webinar that you can share with your team. And Brandon, I thank you once again for your incredible expertise, and I've got nothing else. That's it. You got anything for us,
Thank
Brandon?
you all for, no, we're good. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you for your attention, and look for an email being launched by Jesse here soon. If you want that SEO audit, simply fill out the information, and we'll make sure that gets back to you most expeditiously. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brandon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.